thank you for taking the time today. It's great to have the opportunity to speak with you. So you got new album coming out soon on Metal Blade, Let There Be Witchery.
Yeah, should be out officially. I just picked up some copies the other day. Sounds good. So, yeah.
Excellent. So I've got to admit, I'm fairly new to Midnight. It's something that I've one of those names I've heard around the scene for many years, but it's with the opportunity of speaking to you today that I've really delved into the material. And it's been a kind of a pleasure to dig into some of your back catalogue. Having a search around Bandcamp. How would you for people who are new to Midnight? How would you introduce the band? How would you kind of set their expectations?
I would say, hello, my name is Athenar, and I'm not a child molester. That's how I introduce myself. But no, that's cool that you just got into it, because in my mind, that's a good thing that people are after so many records that people still have interest in it, and it's still, considering maybe after Metallica's first 3 or 4 records, maybe nobody wanted to know about them other than just jocks or something. So it's still cool that people are still wanting to get into it and seeking it out. So, but how I would introduce them is just to choose an album. Really, I think you're asking the wrong person because to me they're all good. So, yeah.
Yeah, I am. Seeing the, of course, delve straight into Metal Archives. I love it as a resource in terms of just nerding out on what's going on in there, and seeing the description of say speed in black metal, and I was really I was getting into it, and I was like, there's a lot of Diamond Head here. I'm loving this. Of course, the obvious one. I didn't want to come in and say the V word and Venom and everything. I think that's a really obvious thing. But getting into all these Northern bands that I'm hearing, even like really early Priest and stuff, I loved hearing those influences.
Oh yeah, that's I'm a music fan first and foremost. So, and then heavy metal fan. So. I try not to. It's whatever comes out. So all the what they say, what goes in must come out somewhere, and it usually comes out in the form of fecal matter or urine, and it's music too. So it's going to come out some way, and mine just comes out uglier than most, I guess.
Do you have any what perhaps could be surprising musical influences then that have manifested in a certain way with your output, where you think, oh, if the fans of I'd be surprised if someone kind of class onto this, whether there's some hidden fusion element or classical element, say.
Oh yeah, there'd be if someone that just knew the band and knew of them as puking and vomit and sadomasochism or whatever their preconceptions of the band are. If they look at my record collection, it would be all over the map. And I'm sure if I looked at somebody else's collection, it would be all over the map too, I would hope. But it's all over the road. There's I don't know if there's I've never gotten much into classical since you mentioned that, but it seems maybe a bit too European for my taste. I'm still more of the American and Western rock and roll type, as you say. So it's still all blues based, pop based kind of stuff. But anything branching out from there, from rock and roll era.
Cool. So this is your 5th album, correct?
Yeah, I guess it would be, technically a 5th full-length album, but then there was a double album of a collection of EPs and singles and whatnot. So that's essentially 2 albums there. So if you want to wrap it up into album lengths. I guess this would be the 7th.
Wow.
That's the way I usually look at it. So, 7 albums worth of material.
And the second on Metal Blade, is that right?
Yeah. It's crazy too.
Yeah, so quite been around for quite a while before on Hell's Headbangers and other underground releases before going onto Metal Blade. How did the how did you get into business with Metal Blade, shall we say?
Well, they contacted me a few years back, when I was still with Hell's Headbangers, maybe in 2014, 2015 time. And, they were interested in doing a record, but I just wasn't at the time. I just, at that point, I was just, didn't want to tour, didn't want to, I enjoyed what I was doing. And I still enjoy what I'm doing, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed making music, and that was it. I didn't want anybody telling me what to do. Mm-hmm. As rock and rollers, nobody wants to be told what to do. So I just always assumed, okay, well, if you get like on a bigger label like that, then you have to, have people to answer to, and that's not me. But as it turns out, I just said, okay, well, I might as well take a chance on this and see what happens. There's been certain things that happen in life, and sometimes you have to do something else. So took a chance with Metal Blade to see what would happen, and it's fine. It's just a bit frightening of putting your toes in the water kind of thing. I just never wanted to do it. So, but after now, I'm more open to playing longer tours and doing just all musical stuff, which I always wanted to do. That's all I ever wanted to do. That's my only interest is music stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's cool. Worked out good.
Brilliant. So it's fair to say then there's been some really good opportunities that it's opened some doors for you working with the bigger label, and in terms of the metal, even if you would term it the underground, you don't come much bigger than Metal Blade.
Yeah, I mean it's opportunities and business things like that. That's still of no concern to me. I really don't. It's no big deal. The thing that's important to me is if I'm going to make the music, it would be cool to have people who want to hear it be able to get it. Mm-hmm. And Metal Blade is just better at getting people to hear the music. So if I want to influence some ear holes and turn some people on to this kind of music, they're a good label to do that.
That's a really good way to put it, actually. Yeah. No, it's just an aside. My friends and I, we debate all the time about where it is these days with labels and going DIY and Bandcamp and all this type of stuff. That's a really great way to put it. I'm going to use that. So, with Let There Be Witchery, then, is there any particular specific inspirations this time around?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's always inspirations, and then those inspirations will probably be told in my memoirs once I'm dead, because some of them can't be told now. But yeah, I mean, it's all life. It's all things that happen. So 2019 happened. So after that, the recording for this record happened. Then Corona happened. So I'm sure every band and their brother is going to have their Corona period album. So that'll happen too.
One thing that struck me looking through the song titles for Let There Be Witchery, but also your back catalogue, was some of it's quite sexual. And heavy metal is by and large this asexual genre. It's just this thing that doesn't exist for us. I wondered whether you kind of what would you attribute that to specifically for Midnight?
Well, I think actually it's rock and roll is I mean, it is sexual. That's what I think, at least. And heavy metal is a you know, like a little child of rock and roll. And heavy metal is. I mean, at least the stuff I grew up on, there's always, you know, it's not like the hey baby, let's go out on a date and do it in the back seat of the car type of sexual nature. But there's just a bit of a human sleazy element, and I think anybody can relate to that, no matter if you're a whatever, I don't know, a priest or a secretary or a banker or whatever the hell. I mean, there's always something in the back of your mind that, I mean, you know about sleazy stuff, whether you think whether you want to show it or not. So I think pretty much anybody with a certain type of organ can relate to that.
Do you think, for you, how important is the kind of relatability then of the material?
It happens, you know, and if it's good, relatable music. I mean, you got a band like AC/DC, who the most, you know, at least, you know, me, I consider myself a serious music fan. That's all I've done in my life. But I can realize their simplicity and their greatness. You know, nobody can be as simple as they can, and just have anybody who doesn't even like music, doesn't even know really what rock and roll is, what music is. If you play an AC/DC song from them, their body will do something instinctually. You know, it'll move in some way. Maybe if you put on some kind of porno grind, it won't. You know, it's hard to relate to it. But you know, I think some sort of a good, at least the music that I like, it should move you in some way. Yeah, and without you even knowing it. So that's kind of not what I try to do, because I can't really try to do it. But if it comes out that way, that's the way I would like it to. If that makes any sense.
No, it absolutely does, and I think dropping in a band like AC/DC is a perfect example of that. With Let There Be Witchery, then the artwork in particular, what's the? I guess again, I'll come back to inspiration. What's the inspiration with the artwork?
With the artwork, well, that's I leave that up to William Lacey, who does the art. He's done the art for since the first record. And I think he's just got to always have a unique take on whatever the song. Usually, I just give him the song titles, and then he comes up with something kind of creepy and bizarre. And I like it because it's not typical or usual. You know, you can't say, "Oh, this is standard black metal album cover. Okay, this is standard power metal album cover." This is, you know, it's not a standard album cover by any sorts, and he's not. Like an artist that is sought out in a way, like, oh, we have to get so and so to do our artwork. You know, he's really hot right now. Yeah, so it's great that he is his own style, and I think he fits the Midnight style perfectly, because it's not perfect and it's a bit unnerving to look at. You know, it's not for everybody. So I like it. I think it fits well.
I've always liked it when artists have, when bands have that consistency as well of aesthetic from album to album.
Yeah, I do too. You know, the Derek Riggs kind of thing, and you know, it's just like you know, it's people. You know, if you're working together. I mean, it's not just like here's an album, plop that on there, or album cover here, just plop that on there. That'll work. It's something cool I was working on. But it's nice to have, like, okay, well, what do you have in mind for the you know, the scheme of this album or something like that. So yeah, him and I work a little bit like on that, you know, how it generally should be, and he goes in and does his thing.
And with the band itself, the creation of the album, am I correct in saying that you record all the instruments yourself? You play all the instruments yourself?
Right. Yep.
And you have a separate lineup for live.
Yes.
I guess it's fairly well established process for you at this point. If you've been working on your own terms of like recording the drums and the bass and everything, it's something you're well versed in.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of the way I've always been doing it, and to me it just makes it a little bit more unique, a little bit more unband like, which I think is cool. Rather than just being four dudes, taking a band picture, four dudes going on to there's countless bands like that. So our situation is not completely totally unique. It's not like nobody's ever done this, but it makes it just at least a little bit in the minority, which is cool because heavy metal and rock and roll has always been in the minority. So to be a minority in a minority, that's what it is, man. It's rebels and rebels and rebels and rebels. So where does it stop?
And with the live arena, then, what plans do you have following the release of the album? I mean, what's it like, for example, for touring there? What with Corona, for example?
Well, this tour that we have coming up here, actually, we leave this week. This will be our first tour since the Corona stuff, so since 2019. So looking forward to doing that. So we'll have this, and then hopefully the Europe stuff still happens, and then another tour in the fall. So it's about 70 shows, and then for us that's a lot. For some bands that's nothing, but for a band like us, that's a good amount. That's not doing too much, and that's just doing. I think it's the right amount for now.
For the listeners, then, when they do come to listen to this, with the tour, who are you touring with, and kind of whereabouts in North America you heading?
We're touring with Mayhem and Watain for about 25 shows, starting in San Francisco, all down the coast through the south, up the East Coast, and then we're going to end up in Chicago area, and then we just drive back home. So yeah, and then the Europe stuff, I'm not 100% sure where those are. I haven't even looked at that far yet, just because I don't want to get let down again. Mm-hmm. You look at everything, and then everything's just been canceled and canceled and canceled. So I'll worry about the Europe stuff when it's maybe a couple days away, and we have, and when our feet are on European soil.
The way that fans are these days, I think certainly my impression is in the last 20 years anyway, is where you've had the internet, the traditional media has kind of, in terms of magazines informing people's opinions or what they consume in terms of music, and the ways that record labels haven't got the clout that they once had. I think fans are probably a bit more open-minded, and of course there's various views on like how it's been over the years in terms of like punks versus metalheads, etc., through the 80s or whatever, and you got like Slayer and Motorhead bringing the factions together, and we'll guess what we're getting around to is say a lineup with like a band like with Mayhem and Watain, which are more I'll say orthodox because it's a word coming to mind, orthodox black metal, and then Midnight, which is of a more traditional style. Have you found that the kind of the fans who might be there turning up to see Watain or Mayhem kind of receiving you well?
Yeah, I mean that's entirely up to them. I mean, I can just do what I do, or do what we do, and I've never been a we want to say like a yes man or a crowd pleaser. It's up to them if they like us or not. I'm not going to say, hey, come on guys, give us a chance. I give a shit if they give us a chance or not. But the fact is that we will be there and playing music that will be in their face, so they have to give us a chance. Mm-hmm. Because there's no re-entry into clubs. But it's cool if they hear something that they've never heard before, maybe then that's cool. Just the same way it was when if I hear a band and or especially more or less when I was younger. Not to sound like an old, jaded, old buzzard, but yeah, man, there's been plenty of times, you go to see a band, you don't know what to expect, and holy shit, that is like, wow, that's something I did not expect at all, and turns out to be your favorite band. So.
It's been great speaking with you today, and I've really enjoyed getting into the Midnight back catalogue, and I want to continue kind of delving deeper into it.
Cool. Well, I appreciate the call, man.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.